What would you do if you picked up a passenger who wasn't supposed to exist? Tonight, we're diving into the terrifying tale of a late-night drive that went horribly wrong. If you're new here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a terrifying story. Let's get into tonight's tale, the passenger that shouldn't be there. Liam had been a rideshare driver for over a year. It wasn't the most exciting job, but it gave him time to think, especially during his late-night shifts. He enjoyed the quiet streets, the hum of his car's engine, and the occasional odd passenger. But he always followed one rule: never take rides in isolated areas. That night, his last scheduled ride was just a mile from his apartment. As he turned on his app to head home, a new request popped up. The pickup location was at an abandoned gas station on the outskirts of town. Liam hesitated. The station had been closed for years, and the area had a reputation. Stories circulated about people going missing near the woods surrounding it, but he dismissed them as urban legends. He was tired and eager to finish his shift. Against his better judgment, he accepted the ride. When he arrived, the gas station was dark, its windows shattered, and the sign hanging precariously from rusted chains. A cold wind swept through the lot, and Liam spotted her, a lone figure standing at the edge of the property, partially obscured by shadows. She wore a long tattered coat, her hair hanging limply over her face. Liam rolled down the window. "Are you Sarah?" he called out. The woman turned slowly, her movements unnaturally stiff. Her face was pale, almost translucent, with sunken eyes that didn't quite meet his. She nodded without speaking and slid into the back seat. As Liam drove, the silence in the car grew unbearable. Most passengers made small talk, even late at night. But this woman sat motionless, staring out the window. Her hands were clasped tightly in her lap, her nails unnervingly long and chipped. Liam cleared his throat. "So, heading home late?" She didn't respond. Her gaze didn't shift. After a few minutes, he glanced in the rearview mirror. What he saw made his stomach drop. Her reflection wasn't sitting still. While her physical body remained unmoving, the reflection in the mirror turned to look at him, her dark eyes locking onto his. He whipped his head around, but she was still staring out the window as if nothing had happened. The unease gnawed at him. He pressed the accelerator, eager to finish the ride. But the longer they drove, the more distorted her reflection became. Her face twisted unnaturally, her mouth stretching into an impossibly wide grin. Suddenly, the radio turned on by itself. Static filled the car, followed by faint whispers. The dashboard lights flickered, and the car began to slow down, even though his foot was on the gas. "Is everything okay back there?" Liam asked, his voice shaking. The woman finally turned her head toward him. Her face had changed. Her skin was peeling, revealing dark, hollow sockets where her eyes had been. Her grin widened as she whispered, "You shouldn't have picked me up." The car jolted to a stop in the middle of an empty road, surrounded by dense woods. Liam flung the door open and ran into the forest, his breath coming in ragged gasps. Behind him, he could hear her footsteps, deliberate and heavy, as she followed. "You can't run from me." Her voice echoed, distorted and coming from everywhere at once. Liam tripped over a root, his hands scraping against the cold, damp ground. He turned and she was standing over him. Her form seemed taller now, her limbs impossibly long, her face mere inches from his. The last thing Liam saw was her hand reaching for his face. Then everything went black. The next morning, his car was found abandoned in the middle of the road. The authorities searched the area, but found no sign of Liam or any record of the passenger he picked up that night. Thank you for watching tonight's terrifying tale. If this story gave you chills, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. What would you have done in Liam's shoes? Let us know in the comments. And remember, not every passenger is what they seem. Until next time, stay safe and keep the lights on.